Hello everyone, I am recording the new 15 minutes of Yakuza. This game is gonna be insane. I'm telling you.
Yakuza Like a Dragon might seem a bit intimidating, but launching on a whole bunch of different platforms and with a new protagonist and a brand new setting, it's as good a jumping on point as any. Joining me to talk about this brand new game is Scott Stricker, the senior localization producer from Sega on this wonderful series. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell notifications.
So, I have been somewhat on media blackout with Like a Dragon. This is obviously a huge, big new installment that is doing a lot of new stuff with the series. It's already been out in Japan for a little while, but you guys always go a really long way with how you approach localization. For people who haven't been paying close attention, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what the setting is, who the main character is, and what we can expect to see?
Right, so our previous protagonist, Kazuma Kiryu, his story arc ended in Yakuza 6, and we are picking up the new character, Ichiban Kasuga here, is a brand new storyline, all featuring him.
This game's going to be really, really fun, I'm telling you.
Very much a different guy than Kiryu ever was. There's a lot of different things about him that are, where Kiryu is, we all kind of know him, Ichiban's going to
some first person
steal everyone's hearts as we get into his story.
You can do that?
His primary
story
takes place in Yokohama, which is a city kind of adjacent to, it's in Tokyo, but it's a different suburb. So it's a completely new city for us. It's like 3 times the size of Kamurocho, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Now, one of the big, huge changes that's happening this time around is that Yakuza,
which is
historically kind of an action
is now
a party-based, turn-based RPG. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you're maintaining the same level of expectation for totally over-the-top action in a more of an RPG setting?
Absolutely. So Ichiban is his story is heavily dependent
on the
choices that he makes with these other characters. They're all
that's
coming from the same kind of climbing out from rock bottom kind of situations. It's a lot of people kind of from the edges of society coming together, and the dev team really felt like the best way to portray that was to allow the player to play as more than just Ichiban, to really kind of hang their hat on that like friendship thing that's kind of happening with Ichiban. So
that's funny.
He's a very charismatic dude, and he attracts people to his kind of demeanor. But at the same time, he's a retro gamer. So these kind of RPG battles that are happening are very much kind of his mindset kind of happening in that you're looking at whenever the battles kind of transition. You probably saw that when the battle transitions, the enemies that are he's fighting literally become like this almost kind of like monsters. That's all kind of happening in his head, being portrayed kind of in the game. But we absolutely haven't forgotten our roots as an action game, and there's all kinds of ways that we're playing heavily to the audience who expects kind of more quick snappy kind of action. So that's all kind of incorporated into this RPG turn-based system. Kind of under the hood will allow you to still kind of perform the action that you will love and know from the Yakuza series.
I dig that. So your party and your friends that you're making, can you talk a bit about how much variety you're going to have in terms of party members and characters you're going to be meeting along the way?
Right. So right now we have the full party of 4.
Sorry, guys.
To 6 plus 1. Party member optional, and that's going to be one way that you can differentiate your party. But we also have a full-on job system with 19 jobs that you can take up. And a lot of the times I think when you think of a job system, you're like, all right, here's my thief, my ranger, my mage kind of things. But we're using a classic Yakuza approach for this and allowing you to select like real life jobs. So we'll show some of that gameplay in a bit here.
It's a trash can lid. I didn't notice that before.
For the characters, you'll see some of that kind of come.
It's hilarious. Is that a stick?
Now, in the previous Yakuza games, you occasionally get different outfits, but they're usually not something you can unlock until later in the game. Are we going to see? I don't know if armor is the right word, but sort of different wardrobe for Ichiban and your party members.
Yes. So each job has its own custom outfit, and then in addition to its own custom outfit has a couple different variations on it. So not only that, there's going to be all kinds of unlockable kind of costumes that, like we always do, that we throw those into the free add-on stuff that like Yakuza does. We're one of the only people who continues to just
this game's gonna be funny.
Content post-launch, and those all will happen.
I'm gonna love it.
Now, the setting, I want to talk about this. How would you say it compares, other than just in terms of scale, to some of the previous settings like Sotenbori or Kamurocho?
So Yokohama is a massive port city, and it's got like 9 different districts. So you've got the uptown, you've got lowtown, you've got downtown, you've got the commercial district, you've got an industrial district, you've got Koreatown and Chinatown, and all these different like areas kind of have their own vibe and their own feel to them. And what's neat about it is that, you know, you may have noticed as he was playing some of the gameplay that like there's a different threat level to each of those. So like wandering too far and outside of your level is definitely going to be more of a challenge for you, and you're going to have to really kind of pick your strategy better when you're roaming through more dangerous areas.
In terms of enemy variety, we've seen like the wonderful, you know, there's the threatening men, and there's delinquents, and there's, you know, various grades of street thugs. How do you maintain that same
Hammerhead,
sort of within the
newbie Yakuza
of an RPG? Are there going to be? Are we going to get fantastical here? Is it going to get really like over the top?
You probably saw that as like I was mentioning, like the enemies are literally transform, and that's something that we play into really heavily. There's all kinds of different types.
Oh, it looks so painful.
You add them very early on in the story. You gain what's called a Suji Dex in your as an app on your phone, and if that sounds familiar, there's a reason it does. But so you're basically running around collecting these monsters into your phone app, and they're all very, very kind of homage-y type of enemies to RPGs, while at the same time mixing them with that Yakuza like real life level. So like that guy that changed into a berserker, for instance, you know, that we used a lot of Western names that are kind of you know, they're very much an homage to a very particular series that Ichiban is a fan of, called Dragon Quest.
I love that. So this feels like a Yakuza game where you're playing as a JRPG nerd within the game. Like there's that level of like, it seems very meta.
It's a little meta, yeah. There's like a whole conversation that Ichiban has with his party members early on. And he's like, "Guys, did you see those monsters transform?" And they're like, "No, bro, but whatever it is that you're thinking, like that's fine as long as it helps you fight."
I guess we've seen. I think I caught a glimpse of Kiryu showing up in one of the trailers or some gameplay. Can you talk about sort of how this is going to intersect with the existing, you know, Yakuza Judgment universe?
So it is definitely set in the same universe. When Ichiban gets out of Ichiban takes the fall for a crime that he didn't commit, very similar to our previous protagonist. But when he gets out in the year 2019, it's a brand new world for him, in which the Omi Alliance has essentially taken over Kamurocho. And if you're familiar with the kind of rivalry that the Omi and the Tojo clan have had for the last 6+ games, you know, that's a huge deal, right? Like it's massive. And so all of that is kind of unfolding in the background as Ichiban is continually like kicked lower and lower. And like you mentioned, you know, Kiryu and some of our previous pro tags even are kind of in the background, and you'll definitely intersect with them kind of later in the game in a way that is epic, but I don't want to spoil too much.
Now, I think my favorite part of the Yakuza series, obviously the super heavy-duty, dramatic, you know, operatic crime stuff is cool, but I love all of the weird sub-stories and just, you know, side characters you run into along the way. And you and the localization team always seem to have a really good time bringing that stuff to
Oh.
beginning of this footage, who it seemed like you could talk to. You talk about some of just the
Streaming weird there.
We're going to be doing in this game, in addition to the heavy-duty crime drama.
I'm recording the
you
stream
saw
instead of
that,
live streaming
the
it.
crawfish over there, her name's Nancy. I don't want to talk too much about Nancy because we will absolutely be showing more of Nancy later. But yes, that involves Ichiban basically making friends with the crawfish, and you know, it's just as bonkers as you might expect Yakuza to be.
That's hilarious.
Sub stories. There's still very
Friends with the
dramatic
crawfish.
sub stories, but for the most part, the sub stories lean pretty hard into the nonsense side of things. Not to mention all the jobs and special attacks that we're now kind of seeing that, you know, the musician, for instance, having a move called album drop, where he literally drops an album on a guy. So.
Now, the other thing that is huge in Yakuza games is all the different sort of mini games and activities. We've seen some of these teased. This has kart racing, is that right?
Dragon Kart is a full-on like a Tokyo. You know, it's very popular in Japan where you like get in those like little go-karts and run around the town. But of course, we had to bring our Yakuza twist to that with rocket launchers and satellites and all that kind of nonsense and machine guns. So that's very much a mini game you can play. I think later in this footage we're going to show a little bit of cans.
It sounds really
Hop
fun.
on like a rickshaw and start collecting cans.
Yakuza
A
cart.
little bit of side income, and that's hilarious. And here we are. Your goal here in this mini game is to collect these cans and get the boosts, and without getting kind of taken out by your competition who's out there also collecting cans. You have to ram them, and you have to avoid the garbage truck and the thieves, and get back to the goal in time before running out of time to collect your cans.
Are we going to see any of the sort of the business
That looks really fun, actually.
Games we've gotten used to? I mean, we've run hostess clubs, we've done real estate and construction companies.
There is a full-on business management mode sub-story happening, and it's just as intricate as Real Estate Royale was, where Ichiban will be tasked with taking over a failing confectionery company, and taking that from a literally failing company to a great holdings company, where you'll have to recruit managers, assign them to properties, and to go into these really epic like shareholder battles where the shareholders are laying out their grievances, and you have to fight them and apologize to them. Naturally over the top level of Yakuza nonsense.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I mean, the thing about this series that I love is that you wind up latching on to the thing that's
Oh gosh, you can.
least expected.
Oh, that's
some
funny.
little mini game that you're like, that sounds weird. Who would be into that? And then you find yourself sinking 11 hours into it, and you're like, oops.
Yeah.
Can you? Is there going to be any dating? We've seen that kind of got dabbled in Judgment.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the, I guess the Persona series, where you can level your kind of personality up a bit. If you raise certain levels of your personality enough, you might be able to approach some of the ladies you've met throughout the storylines and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely there. You just have to earn it.
Now you mentioned Persona. That's another Sega property. Obviously, that's kind of the when people think like the turn-based JRPG that Sega makes, that's the big one, and now Yakuza's kind of dipping their toe into that. Have the teams like interacted at all, given each other notes on that kind of thing, or?
That's a great question. They're in the same building. I couldn't tell you, but I think there's definitely some learnings happening, and I think it's just a cool kind of marriage of ideas that's certainly we're seeing with not only Persona but also Like a Dragon.
Oh, right in the butt.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to see these sort of parallels. They're both games where you go exploring, in Japan and making friends and fighting stuff. And in this case, it seems like it's definitely dabbling in that JRPG territory, but it's still squarely, Yakuza stuff. Can you talk about sort of it's weird because it doesn't look turn-based. I guess the spacing seems really dynamic and almost more action RPG-ish.
Definitely, it's super snappy. So like you not only during battle are
really angry.
For one, automate as anyone that you'd want to automate, so you can make it incredibly snappy that way. But also there's this very dynamic kind of live action kind of feel happening where the characters are just kind of they're dancing around each other a little bit. And so like if a character is between you or if a bike is between you and a character, your character will automatically pick up that bike, weave it into his attack. And so like that happens, and then another character, if you've leveled up your bond via drink links with that character, they will step in and do a follow-up attack. And there's action prompts that are like where you've probably seen them throughout the footage where the character, you'll have to be pressing buttons and you can do perfect guards, and so you are like on your toes at the whole time. It's not a very passive battle system at all. You can tailor that to be as slow or as fast as you want.
Well, that is awesome. This was, of course, got a big, huge announcement reveal thing there was the Xbox Series X presentation, direct, state of Xbox, whatever the hell we're calling it. There's too many of these things.
Right.
And everyone's dying to know about next gen. Can you say anything about what people can expect from Yakuza Like a Dragon on the Series X compared to sort of current gen?
We're definitely supporting the smart delivery feature, and outside of that, there's we're still figuring that out a little bit, but for the most part, we're ready to support next gen on this, which is going to be pretty cool.
Here's a sword.
Okay, so when can people expect to get their hands on Yakuza Like a Dragon, Scott?
We'll be there day one on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Windows 10, and Steam.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming by and chatting. I'm a big fan of Yakuza, as you might have guessed by my suit. I get married in the suit, and I do my Yakuza E3 interviews in this suit. Anyway, thanks for coming by. This has been great. I'm dying to know more about Yakuza Like a Dragon, and it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure, Max. Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. That was really, really fun. Alright, see you guys later. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next
Now we're up to
IGN.
speed on